Hi YouTube! So I'm doing a different thing with this speed paint in that I'm voicing it over for the first time. We don't need to talk about those quote tutorials I did 2 years ago where you could hardly hear me. You'll be pleased to discover that I now have $20 headphones instead of $15 ones. I know, what a splurge. Anyway, I'm hoping I'll be able to make this a more regular thing, because I actually really love speed painting, and I don't know why I don't do it more often. Actually, it's because I'm really busy with studying and life, and any opportunity I get to draw, I just totally forget about recording it because I'm so focused on the drawing itself. But that's not relevant right now, because I'm recovering from a cold, which means I have time to draw and make this video. Now, some backstory for the subjects on today's speed paint. For those of you that don't know, they are fan characters of mine, made for the anime Soul Eater back when I was like, so small. The girl in this picture, Ayaka, was drawn fairly recently by a channel by the name of Cosmobites for their Drawing Your OC series. I'll leave the link to that video in the description, so please give that a watch because they are hilarious. Soul Eater is a fantasy-type shonen anime that surrounds a small cast of teenagers going to school to learn how to fight Kishin, which are like this universe's demons. There are 2 categories under which you can enter the school: as a weapon, if you have the power to transform into one, or as the Meister, who is the person that wields the weapon. I could go on and on about this anime for literal hours because I love it so much, but those are the basics you need to know for the context of my characters. Ayaka was the first character I ever created, full stop, so she has a special place in my heart. She's the Meister of these 2, and Arashi is the weapon. Here's a katana, which is a fairly basic choice when I had all these options available to me, but I turned it into a character building trait. Arashi has a bit of a resentment towards his family because they come from a long line of traditional weaponry and are pretty wealthy and powerful. They expect a lot from him, which is where Ayaka comes in to save the day. Ayaka came from fairly humble beginnings. She was abandoned as a small child and spent a few years in foster care before being adopted by her current parents, who are a graduated weapon and Meister duo. She's chaotic and loud and overconfident, but she's loyal as fuck to those she cares about. They balance each other out really well. Ayaka teaching him how to just cut back and have some fun, and Arashi teaching her how to cut back and think about her future. So, it might be about time to address what's going on screen right now. I'm just finishing up the line work, which I really take pride in because the way I do it is pretty time consuming. Literally half this video is taken up by it, if that says anything. I have a lot of fun applying weight to it and figuring out where the thicker lines should go, as I started out with the thin line work mentality, which was even more time consuming and not nearly as interesting. Not that there's anything wrong with thin line work, of course, it's just not the direction I want to go with my style. And because I spend so much time perfecting the line work, the next step, colouring, becomes a lot easier, because I can select the areas I want to colour, press increment a couple times, and then I'm golden. I tend to choose very bright, saturated colours for Ayaka specifically, because she just has that kind of aesthetic. It's gotten to the point that I just hardly use desaturated colours now. Which I'm not complaining about at all, because bright colours are fun. I find that along with my line work, the colours I use define my style pretty well. I'm still in the midst of discovering what kind of styles I like and mimicking the ones I do, but 2 things I've noticed that stay pretty consistent is my weighted line work and saturated colours. Even if the anatomy is totally whack or completely accurate, the line work and the bright colours stay. This is a more anime-looking style than what I typically draw in it, but I've been leaning in that direction lately, so I'm not fussed about it. Another thing that defines my colours are gradients. Flat colours are out, baby! This is how I managed to work so many colours into my pieces, despite there being only a limited amount of base colours. On Ayaka's jacket, for example, it's green with a black hood, pocket, and cuffs. In reality, that's all it would be. But because this is art and I can do whatever I want, I add a deep purple gradient from the top of the green and a bright yellow one from the bottom. Then on the black parts, I use a bright turquoise. This adds some dimension that, again, in reality, doesn't exist, but it adds some visual interest. I do this on almost every part of the body, from the clothes to the hair, and if I'm feeling really funky, the skin as well. That's usually reserved for inhuman skin tones, though. And perhaps I should address the text on screen as well. I got the idea from Cosmobites' video, some offhand comment they said. It fit too well not to use, but I thought it was too in character for Ayaka to attack him with the stupid nickname while he was too tired to actually fight back. I don't draw speech bubbles very often because I'm a much more illustrative artist than a comic one, so I struggled with the composition a little during sketching, and the easy way out with struggling with the color was just to make the text bubbles white. I wanted to tell them apart by color. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the speed paint. Thank you for tuning in, and let me know what you'd be interested in seeing me speed paint next. Bye!